like
be last. And I actually think this one could happen. Nick is not going to like it.
What's he doing?
But the Saints,
Okay.
we're going to have it on the bottom, will go marching into Kansas City and get a win. Here's the thing, Nick. The Chiefs aren't going 17-0. They're going to lose to a team they shouldn't lose to, just like they lost to Denver last year, just like they lost to Indianapolis the year before. It just happens in the NFL.
Okay, sure.
All right? And I think the Saints are a pretty good team. Obviously, the Chiefs don't have Rasheed Rice. We saw last year, at least during the regular season, even they had Rasheed, but what they looked like without a good receiver at that. And Rasheed was good, but not great. And so now they don't have him. I think that's going to be a problem. And the great Patrick Mahomes, and you probably know this, Nick, has lost his last 2 games on Monday nights.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Christmas Day.
Well, that wasn't night. That was day.
But Monday.
Oh,
Monday.
okay.
Monday
He lost to the Raiders. He lost to the Raiders on Christmas Day. And then before that, they lost to Philadelphia, which was about to spiral into its supernatural funk. I argue they were already in that funk. It was coming in, and Mahomes, lost those games. So lost his last 2 games on Monday. The Saints go marching in.
Like the pick, Brew. Like it.
Really? I understand if you feel like the Saints are going to cover because the Chiefs play nothing but close games, even though they've oddly, they've beaten 2 of their 4 opponents by 7 that would cover this. Picking the Saints to win this game outright, especially with the injuries to their center and their left guard, where Chris Jones is going to wreak havoc the entire game, and it scared Derek Carr is not good Derek Carr. Also, the Chiefs' success this year against other teams' running backs, like their yards per carry allowed to the other team's primary running back is less than 3. I hate this pick for you, Brew. I want you to do well. I don't want Coach and Greg to run away with it. If you loved it so much, you would have picked it. Yes, you would have wanted to stick it to me.
I like my pick better. What do you I can love both.
2 big upsets.
Yeah, wild shot.
All right. Yeah, this is an interesting pick by Brew. Honestly, obviously, right. The whole point of upset alert is to try to find the upsets, right? Like what and try to be strategic with it, especially because they have their whole point system. I mean, I have no idea whether this will happen or not. I think it depends on who the Saints are. I just made a video kind of having a similar discussion about this because the Saints have had such an interesting start of their season, right? They roll the Panthers, they roll the Cowboys, they lose to the Eagles in a tough loss, and then they went out and lost a tough game to the Falcons, but they still put up great points. I had those notes somewhere. They put up great points. They actually had a really good game. They just lost a turnover battle for that, for the Saints. I mean, it was pretty remarkable because the Saints had more first downs, third down conversions, more total plays, 70-51, more total yards, passing and rushing, right? But they lost a turnover battle, and so they lost the game. And then we just saw what the Falcons were able to do on Thursday Night Football. So this is going to be interesting because we're going to find out 2 things really of the Saints versus the Chiefs. One, what the heck do the Chiefs look like with this new look offense, right? That's number 1. And 2, who are the Saints? Because if the Saints are actually like a legit top team in the NFC that they were, setting up to be in the start of the season, then they should be able to beat the Chiefs in this situation, right? A badly injured, on their back foot, struggling to put up points Chiefs. This is the Saints, if they have this high-powered offense, right, with this awesome run game, Derek Carr, right, great play caller, great play design by Kubiak, like, if that's who they are, then they should be able to beat the Chiefs. They just should, right? That if the Saints are actually a top team. If they're not, if they're this team where they sometimes play good, sometimes don't, sometimes play average, sometimes play great, sometimes play bad, right? Like just essentially an inconsistent team. Well, then it's just a roll of the dice. You have no idea what Saints team you're getting. Are you getting the ones that rolled the Cowboys, right? Or are you getting the ones that are really struggling to move the ball and even run the ball, like versus the Eagles? Which is it, right? So that to me is where this really kind of falls on. 5.5 points is steep. That just shows you how little they respect the Saints, quite frankly, in terms of Vegas, because the Pittsburgh Steelers are only favored 2.5, I think it is, and that's with the Dallas Cowboys missing like a lot of pieces. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are getting 7.5 points versus the 49ers. So it's just really kind of interesting when you look at this. 5.5 points is a good amount of points, so it really does kind of show you that Vegas really thinks that the Saints were fool's gold. And even though that the Chiefs are still, even though the Chiefs are obviously struggling from an injury perspective, that they're still better than the Saints. So the Saints are in a position, I don't want to say have a statement game, because I don't know what the Chiefs look like with none of these weapons. But obviously their defense is still really, really good, right? And the majority of all those injuries are all taking place offensively. And so that's where I think you're going to find out more in terms of who the Saints are. Because, and if the Chiefs are just going to really start to sputter, quite frankly. Will their luck run out in terms of their good fortune? Because what's interesting is that the Falcons almost beat the Chiefs. I know it was a close game. And then you had the Falcons almost, and then you had the Saints almost beat the Falcons, right? I mean, in a lot of ways, the Saints outplayed the Falcons, but their own mistakes got to the best of them. And the reality is that with the Chiefs always pounce on your mistakes. So if the Saints can just minimize their mistakes and actually just play solid football, just play smart, solid football, because that's what happens. That's how the Chiefs have been able to win. The Bengals had long stretches where they played bad football. The Ravens had long stretches where they just played bad football. The Falcons had stretches where they just played bad football, right? The Chargers had stretches where they just played bad football. No one has been able to play a complete solid game versus the Chiefs. And no, it's not all just because of the Chiefs' magical defense and offense. I could point to a handful of concrete reasons why. Again, the Chiefs deserve the credit to be able to capitalize and minimize their own mistakes, even though Patrick Mahomes is obviously turning the ball over left and right. But outside of that, their mistakes are still minimized in the confounds of the game. So this is where if the Saints game plan, if they just, and they have that extra day, right, obviously being on Monday, if they can just approach this game and come prepared, organized, ready to play, playing good, sound, fundamental football, right? They're not going in there with the expectation of we're going to roll like we did with the Cowboys or the Panthers. It's just playing good, solid, fundamental football, right? Run, pass. Run, pass, run. Not just saying we're going to run the ball down their throat. We're going to light them up. Derek Carr is going to throw 50 times, right? Just being smart, right? Not being too crazy. Being, dare I say, conservative, right? Setting it up, setting the offense up to not be exposed by Kansas City's defense, right? Limiting those turnovers, not having a muffed punt, right? Like not having any of these things, because if you do that, then you're done. It's see you goodbye, right? If the game is close, more often than not, the Chiefs are going to pull it out because you have great coaches on both sides of the ball. And you have Patrick Mahomes who will find a way. And you have Andy Reid who will dial up that perfect play. So they will find that way. So you just got to be smart. They got to control the time of possession. They have to just be in control of this game. Something seemingly that none of these other teams playing the Chiefs were able to do, despite, like I said, despite the Chiefs actually playing a good, really, the Chiefs haven't even played a good game start to finish, and neither have any of the teams who played them. It's just every game has been so ugly. So the way you beat the Chiefs right now is just don't be ugly. Just don't be ugly. It sounds so silly to say, but that's reality. Don't be ugly. Don't play ugly. Don't get down to their level, because when they ugly the game and make it essentially a bad game, they'll be better than you. They'll be a notch better, mainly because of just preparation and coaching more than anything else, right? So just don't be ugly and you win this game. It's that simple, right? It's that simple. So we'll find out on Monday. It will be pretty funny for Brew to get this right, because I don't know if we'll have probably some sort of marching band, and it'll be this whole crazy thing, and banners falling, and we'll have people playing trumpets and stuff. So, we'll see. We'll see how this happens. I'm excited. Yeah, I think Monday night. I think we're in for 2 good games on Sunday and Monday. And is Monday? I haven't looked this up. Is this finally back to being like a standalone Monday night game? I hate when there's 2 Monday night games. So frustrating. Hopefully this is just a singular Monday night game. No other games going on. I would be surprised if it wasn't, because the NFL absolutely loves the Chiefs and they want to show us Taylor Swift every 5 seconds. So I'm sure they don't want to divide the fans there. So my guess is that it's probably the Saints versus the Chiefs and nothing else on Monday. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Saints at the Chiefs? Are you agreeing with Brew that the Saints are going to march into KC and get the win? Or do you agree with Nick Wright where no, the Saints are going to be scared? Derek Carr is going to pop like a bubble. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.